Good evening, and welcome again to Pumping Up with Hans and Franz, the informative training program for achieving financial success.
Once again, I am Hans.
And I am FRANZ, and we just want to pump you up.
Hey, how's it going? Hans Schaff here, the real Hans, and today I've just been doing a little bit of reading. I want to share with you a little bit about what I'm learning about the mind and about conscious output systems. Because here's the truth, right? You may think that your perception, what you see, is what everybody else sees. And the truth is, everyone perceives what they see around them as completely different. In fact, nobody actually sees the same thing. No one actually sees what actually is out there. We all perceive things differently based on our experiences, our beliefs, and our behaviors. And it's very fascinating. So let me share with you an example, kind of how this works. First of all, think of the beach. And what is it that you like about the beach? Okay, so think about it for a second, and think think out loud. What are some things that you like about the beach? How would you describe the beach? So there's a couple different ways of describing the beach, right? Now, if you're a visual type person, which is actually 40% of the population, you would describe it in terms of visual appearance. What it looks like. You would be talking about things like, I love the waves. I love the ocean. I love the blue sky. I love the way that the ocean looks. I love to see the waves roll in. I love to see the beautiful sunsets and the sunrises, and the way that the birds fly as they're hovering over the beach, right? That's 40% of the population. Now, another way you might perceive it is if you are a kinesthetic person. Someone who is kinesthetic is actually someone who feels primarily. Now, see, everyone has all three of these different conscious output systems, right? All three of these ones. But the way you have a main one, and then you have two other ones that you also use, and it kind of depends on the situation. But everyone kind of tends to pick one main one that they normally react to most situations with. Now, if you're a kinesthetic person, you would say things like, you love the way that it feels when the sun is beaming down on you and you can feel the warmth on your arm. The way that the wind blows through your hair. The way that it feels as you sink your toes into the hot sand, and when you jump in the water and it's cool and refreshing. It makes you you just love that cool water, that feeling of that, right? That's a kinesthetic person. That's how they would respond. And that's also 40% of the population. Now, a smaller percentage is actually 20% of people who are more auditory. This is the third one. And this is a little bit more tricky, because people who have this type of conscious output system, typically it's kind of tricky, because this will be their primary one, but they have a secondary conscious output system that's very dominant as well. So that you kind of have to look out for this one. But people who are auditory, they are people who, it's the way they hear things. They'll say things like, I love the way that the waves, the sound of the waves crashing against the shore. I love to hear the seagulls as they're flying through the sky squawking. I love to hear people as they're walking by, and the footsteps of people. I love to hear the wind blowing through the trees. That's an auditory person's response. So now, as you learn these different ways of communicating and you identify what your primary source is, when you start talking to people, you can create instant rapport by recognizing the way that they communicate to you. If they're talking about their feelings, they're talking about pictures and visual things, or if they're talking about sounds and what they hear, if you talk back to them in the exact same language, you instantly create rapport with them. They feel like they can trust you. They feel like they know you, and it's a way to really connect with somebody. So remember that the next time that you're speaking with somebody and you want to really communicate and get communicate with the rapport. And so here's the thing, right? I mean, if you're trying to communicate to a large audience of people and you really want to connect with the audience, what should you do? Well, you want to make sure that you're not speaking in just your specific conscious output system. You want to be speaking to everybody. So make sure you touch on all three different types of systems. You want to be putting visual language into it. You want to be putting auditory language into it, and you also want to be putting kinesthetic language into it. It's very simple once you kind of start practicing it and start incorporating it into your videos or into your marketing or whatever, so that you start identifying with the entire population. Not 20% or 40%, but the entire 100%, and you start connecting with people on a much higher level, and you start engaging more people into your discussion and into your communication, and you're able to just be that much more effective in your communication. It can make a big difference in your relationships, in your business, and in your life overall, by just incorporating that simple, small tweak. So be sure to do that as you're talking to people as well, to incorporate that language from both a visual standpoint, auditory, and also thinking of it from an auditory point of view. I mean, if you look at some of the masters out there, in the world, who are some of the best communicators, that is what they do. If you listen to them, they may be doing it consciously or unconsciously, but they have learned that technique, that strategy, to be able to connect with their audience by talking to them in all these different conscious output systems. So it's a very important strategy, and it's something that you may not realize, may never have learned before. Something I'm just kind of discovering and starting to try and incorporate into my videos that you'll hopefully see, and maybe you'll be able to recognize and pick up on them in future videos. You'll be able to see, oh, there's Hans, he's doing that. He's trying to connect with the entire audience, not just the visual, not just the auditory, not just the kinesthetic. Because I haven't figured out exactly myself. I'm not primarily kinesthetic. I know that. I'm probably I know I'm visual, so I could be auditory primarily, and then maybe secondarily visual, because I do tend to speak pretty fast, and that was one of the characteristics to look out for someone who's auditory, is they like to speak really fast and put a lot of words into trying to explain situations, to try to there I am speaking really fast again. So there you have it. So anyway, Hans Schaff, I just want to share with you those interesting tips about the mind and the conscious output systems, because I think it's such a powerful thing, and I'll teach you some more things that I'm learning here as well. I'm doing a lot of reading here lately about the mind and all these really kind of advanced topics here that I find very interesting and very fascinating, because it allows you to kind of increase your consciousness and be able to kind of communicate on a whole different wavelength, and it's just fun. It's very interesting. So anyway, Hans Schaff here, The Real Hans. Just want to share my 2 cents with you here today, what I've learned tonight. Just kind of doing a little bit of reading here, and go ahead and apply it into your business, into your life, and see how it makes a difference in your life. And what I'm going to share with you probably in the next video, stay tuned here, subscribe to my channel, because I'm going to share with you how you can break somebody out of their state. Because believe it or not, if you're stuck in a certain feeling, whether it's pain or depression or something like that, what that actually represents is you being stuck in a kinesthetic state, for example, where all you can feel are the feelings, the pain. And there is a way, by using the other two systems, that you can actually break out of that and be able to hypnotize yourself, actually, or hypnotize somebody else, or break them out of their hypnosis that they're currently stuck in, where they can't seem to get out of that state, that kinesthetic state. So I'll share with you some tips on how to do that as well, perhaps in the next video coming up, because that's a powerful method as well to kind of help people, and maybe help yourself if you're experiencing some pain. It's the same kind of technique that people use to be able to prevent. If they're not able to use any kind of anesthesia for, like, a dentist or a surgery, they can actually help eliminate some of that pain by using this technique. So it's pretty powerful. Learning a lot about it. So anyway, start there though with that with the conscious output systems, the auditory, the kinesthetic, and the visual, because that is powerful right there. So hope you enjoyed that. Stay tuned, and we'll see you in the next video. Take care. Hans Schaff, over now.